Rav. Now, here's the situation. There were tens of thousands of Arab Rav, of people from all over the world who
excuse
were
me,
in
please don't.
prison or living in Egypt. And nobody, Egypt was
If
sealed.
you
You
consider
could never
Foxland.com
escape from Egypt.
with Dover blocks in, which I doubt they're going to
And
block.
so there wasn't just the Jewish
Why would they
people.
look at you saying?
The Jewish people multiplied in the course of the years that they were there,
I don't think
and they wound up to
except I don't think Bridget is very
600,000 males between the ages of 20 and 60. And there were tens of thousands under
I
the
was
age
just
of 20
really?
and
Why do
tens
you
of
don't?
thousands
Whatever else.
past the age of 60. And there were the women. And then
Channel
there
9,
was
yeah,
the
of course.
Erev Rav.
We know that station,
Now
yeah.
again, the Erev Rav,
I
these
was
were
calling by
people who
what
wanted to get out. They were enslaved by the
sad.
Egyptians also. And they wanted to get out, and they saw how God was freeing the Jewish people with the 10 plagues on the Mitzrayim, on the taskmasters. They were the taskmasters over the Arab Rab as well, over the multitude of non-descendants of Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. And they saw that there was an opportunity to get out. They understood they have to become Jewish to get out. But boy, they really wanted to. They saw the tremendous miracles that God was doing for the Jews. So they said they're gonna break with their idolatry and they're gonna worship one God. They came running to Moshe, take us, please let us go with you. And
Yeah, you're going to be taking your vitamin C.
God is telling him, I told you originally, just take the Jewish people out, the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov.
Fell asleep. Oh, wow.
Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. But you, Ata, now look what God says, and he's depicting and describing Moshe. Sha'isa Anav, the kosher. Two description. Moshe, he's telling Moshe, you are an Anav.
We should. Maybe we should have it.
Kosher. A kosher, you're fit. Now that's a very it's a very seldom used term, but you are. God says in a pasuk that Moshe, you are the honor. You are the honor of the most humble. Honor is humble. And you, Moshe, Adam Mikol Azrael Shel Pnei Adam, Moshe was the most humble person in the world. Wait a minute. He was no dummy. He knew very well that he was he reached the highest level, not eating and not sleeping for 40 days. Realizing the presence of God, talking with God.
I'm wondering with all the changes, does that affect?
You know very well that nobody else ever did this.
No. To answer your question, no.
But he reasoned, hey,
why would you be like? I don't know. I could be like going to medical
because God gave me a greater sensitivity,
I know there's the chances of it are slim, and
if somebody else would have given would have gotten this kind of soul from God, they might have done a better job than me. So he said, I don't have a right to be conceited and full of myself, because it's what God gave me that made me like this. And if God would have given that sensitivity and that high soul to another person, they would maybe they would have done more. So God says you were so humble and you were kosher. That's a hard word to describe. You were fit. Amartali. When I told you, just take out the Jews, you answered me. Listen to what Moshe said to God. He said, La'ola mekablim hashavim. You always have to accept the repenters. Hey, these people, Abraham came running to Moshe, please take us. We're done with idolatry. We see there is one God, what he done for you. And they meant it. And I just think that in this dialogue between God and Moshe, there is so much to be said and could be said. And God should give me ears, maybe I'll be able to bring it out. But here God telling him, I'm not mad at you for taking, I'm not criticizing you, because I know what you are. You are, first of all, humble. And therefore, you accept people. And you give the why did you accept them? Because they were shoving, they were dropping idolatry. Hey, you're talking about tens of thousands of people here, and that's what he told God. That Amartali, you told me, Moshe, that we got to take him. Lo'olam mekabli mashavim. Hey, look at Abraham took. If he made, who did he make believers from the nations of the world? And then there's a whole way they went away from believing in one God. But now these people saw what God did for the Jews and said, we want to be part of you. Please take us along. But they had a long history of idolatry. But Moses, these words, you must always accept people who are returning, repenting. God knows what will happen. I knew that they would build a golden calf. Amarti l'chalav, I told you don't take them. But Vasisi, I did what you wanted. Can you imagine God saying that to a human being? I accepted, got to take repenters. Okay. Asisi V'Tzayncha. Now, God, of course, has the vision of what's going to be. And God saw that they were going to build the golden calf, the idol. V'hem she'asu asher ego, and these people that you took along, they built the eagle. They're the eagle. V'garmu le'ami lachto, and they caused my people to sin. Shiv kan, Ela Elokecha, this is your God. After they took the golden calf came out of the fire that it came out, Aaron told them, take your jewelry off and your gold, and we'll make from it a golden calf. And because they killed Miriam's sons, Hur, who wanted to stop them, they killed him. And they would have killed Aaron also. And he knew that the whole thing happened because they thought that they were godless, that leaderless, because Moshe didn't come back after he went up there to be with God on top of the mountain. He never came back at the time he said he would come back. And Aaron knew that that there's a misunderstanding here. And he said, we'll do this tomorrow. And so, and because he knew that by that time Moshe would be back and he would straighten the situation out. No, they wanted it immediately. And they, interesting, these ones who built the golden calf, they didn't say, Ela Eloheinu, this is our God. They were making a God of their tradition in Egypt and the countries from which they came. And but they didn't say this is our God. They wanted to make very sure the fact that it's the God for the Jews also. It was Ela Hagadim, the converts who were shoving from the Erev of Sha'alo im Moshe, that they went up with Moshe out of Mitzrayim. Hem Sha'ashu, they are the ones that made the golden calf. For Amru Yisrael, and they told the Jews, Ela Elahecha, this is your God. L'kach HaKadosh Baruch Hu Omar LeMoshe, that's why God said to Moshe, Lech rei kishiches amcha, go down because your people sinned. And we know that when Moshe came down and he broke the luchos, because there was this going on in the camp, and Moshe called out, Mi Hashem Elai, everyone who was with God, come to me. And the Bnei Levi assembled to him. And he told them to neutralize, to kill all those who serve the golden calf. And 3,000 were killed. It was determined that this isn't even 1% of the Jewish people. So we've asked this question in corporate, and we've always answered because they allowed it to happen. And if you see a crime and you can prevent it, and you don't, you're culpable also because you didn't stop it. and the Jews allowed it to happen. And this dialogue between God and Moshe, God tells him that you are the most humble person. So, like, you only see good in people. Hey, that's and kosher. I'm still trying to figure out, and I've looked in it in the portion, and they don't seem to talk about, kosher is kosher. Kosher is kosher. You're kosher. God tells, you're fit. You don't have any blemishes. And you don't see blemishes in others. And you take them for their word. If they say, we're repenting. Remember that Moshe said these 3 words. La'olam, Mekablim, Hashavim. You have to always, God, the reason I'm taking them, I'm letting them come, is because they promised me that they are shavim, they are repenting their previous life. And they were. And I believed them. Kosher is a belief. People, he gives people the benefit of the doubt. Which, we are told in Pirkei Avos that you have to give everybody judge him in merit. And so that which Moshe was doing. Somebody knows of a very good coverage and description of the Chet HaEgel.
I don't want to be here. I will leave in a month.
I'm not aware of all the Meforshim, but I'd like to see a good explanation of this dialogue. But anyhow, this is a portion that we learned that it wasn't the Jews, that it was the Arab who said Ela Lehecha Israel. V'kach HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amar LeMoshe Lech Reid Kishiches Amcha. You're the ones that you took along. They're the ones that did this. Hey, it was really a small, petty, the great vast majority of the Jews, and for that matter of the Arab, also did not serve the idol. More than 3,000 in the Arab. And but the whole Jewish the whole Jewish nation, because they allowed it to happen, they're blamed also. And there's, as it says, whenever Jews are punished, there is something left over from the last time they were punished, because of that eagle. It stands out as a sin. Now, why it stands out so much if only 3,000 people were killed who served in a nation of over 3 million? That's something I would like to see a good parish have that. Anyway, we'll switch to Purim. That again, God, remember this, God calls Moshe. Why did you take them, Moshe? Because you are you are a humble person and a kosher person. You didn't say you're a tzaddik. Of course, Moshe was a tzaddik, but somehow kosher is even higher than tzaddik. And I would like to see a good explanation for that. But
no, you don't. No.
The Jewish God did forgive the Jewish for that happening. God was going to destroy the whole people for allowing that to happen. And God said, if you're going to ask me what's going to happen to the promise I made to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that the Jewish people will come from you, well, I'll build the Jewish people through you. You're a descendant of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So I'll build the Jewish from you. You know? And Moshe says, oh no. If you're not going to forgive them, then cross me out of the book that you have written as well. I'm putting myself on the line for the whole Jewish people. And if you'll forgive them, okay. But erase me too from the book that you have written.
I don't want.
And
if you're gonna call me, I'm not gonna.
Unfortunately, do say here that God really didn't want to destroy the Jewish people. And that's why he told Moshe, now leave me alone.
You're not, no one else.
Leave me alone. Moshe figured, wait a minute, leave me alone. I'm not bothering you. I'm not saying anything.
I will not be in this house.
So you're telling me that if I don't leave you alone and I pray for them and do what only I can do to bring you to forgive them, then you really want to forgive them. Look, God created the world. God is
No.
Created a finite world. And he assumes finiteness.
No.
And on the level that he assumes, there is the Midas Hadin and the Midas Harachamim. There is
I don't want you coming into my room.
din,
I don't want you coming into my room.
justice, which means you get what you deserve.
I am going to call 911 and see. Yes.
And there's the
Yes.
Midas
I will.
Harachamim, mercy. That means you get better.
I'm calling 911. Police,
you deserve.
My mom is abusing me.
That you deserve this.
My mom is abusing me.
Is what God is
No.
Doing away with justice. Well, God wanted the world that it should be a world that you get what you do. You get Bereshit bara Elokim. Elokim.
Abusing you.
That name of God means Midas Hadin.
Abusing
Which means justice. You get what you deserve.
Alina, when I can't eat my
I need Papa. What happened? What happened?
I'm giving choices. I built this world.
What
I'm
happened?
giving this creature
What happened?
that I made man.
Yes,
I'm
what
giving
happened?
him choices.
What happened? What happened?
And if he chooses good,
Well,
I'll give him good.
how do you know what happened? How do you know
If he
what's
chooses
going on?
bad, he'll get punished. He'll get it.
How do you know?
And it's not a punishment.
Mama's
It's a
just going crazy now. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I told you not to do it. I gave you 365 don'ts.
Okay.
And I told you not to do these 365
I'm
things.
I'm I'm I'm
And
moving
I
back to
told you
Edgewood.
to do these
I just spoke to.
248 things. I give you the free choice.
I don't want to be here.
But God said it's that giving, creating with man, within man, Yetzer Tov, a good inclination, and a Yetzer Hara, a bad inclination. They're going to go for the bad inclination more and so if I want a world, I better include in my dealing with them mercy. And that's why he said, now, the shame for mercy is Yud, Hey, Vav.
I don't know why I called, but did you call?
As for God is above nature. Haya, Hovet, V'iyeh. He was, he is, he will be. And that's something that we can't put our hands on. But God added that shame in creation, and it says later on in Breshis, Biyom Asa Hashem Elohim Esa Aretz, the day in which God, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, God added. So he added mercy to the way he deals with the people. And Moshe did, he used the mercy and he forgave the Jewish people. And he forgave the Arab Rab. The Arab Rab was not punished. Only those who actually served the golden calf were punished. And that was, when God said that I am God, your God, and you shall have no other God before me. There was an element that didn't get the message.
No. You lost it. I'm sorry.
And they were eliminated. But the nation was, because of Moshe Rabbeinu putting on putting himself in the defense of all of Israel and saying, I'm not looking at the Jewish people should come from me. They have to come, all those descendants of all the descendants. Yeah, I come from Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Rivka, but I don't want the Jewish people rebuilt. I want them all to remain alive.
I don't know.
And I want you to forgive them.
No, I just want to ask it.
And God says, Salachti Kidborecha.
I don't know why.
I have forgiven them according to your petition. And that's what a Jewish leader, a Moshe Rabbeinu, it says in every generation. Moshe Rabbeinu. There's a Moshe Rabbeinu for every generation. And the Midrash and the Gemara says in the story of Purim, you see that where it says that Aim Dor She'aim Bo Moshe, there isn't a generation. God doesn't leave the Jewish people without a Moshe. And it says Mordechai B'Doro, Moshe B'Doro. Mordechai was in his generation like Moshe was in his generation. And he's the one who put himself online for the Jewish people. He was the one who told Jewish people not to go to the trade banquet. But and they this was a sin that was why they deserved. Look, they got the worst decree that was ever decreed against the Jewish people in the story of Purim, because there was never a decree against the Jewish people that all the Jews were to be killed, genocide, and there was no place to go. You know, even in the Holocaust was in Europe. There's a lot of history and miracle stories that it was supposed to happen in Israel too. That Rommel, the Nazi you called the Desert Fox, was almost ready to enter Jerusalem when he was called back by Hitler. And he committed suicide. Rather, he thought that he would be punished by Hitler. And we saw what happened to all our enemies, to the point that one of they hanged.
What the hell are you doing?
On Purim,
what the hell are you doing? Почему ты это сделал? Why did you do this in direct violation of what we talked about? I deserve to leave. Goodbye. А куда ты звонишь? Подожди, а почему ты это сделал? Давай я еще пошлю месседж, скажу месседж, я не уверена в своих ответах. Ты хочешь, чтобы я это делала потом? Ты сам кто-то должен сделать какое-то misunderstanding своего бабила. Ты хочешь, that's it. Next week? Yeah. You'll have to contact Mrs. Wexler now and say I'm so sorry.
The Midrash on Purim.
My apologies.
But hey, the Jewish people were put here to be a light to the nation.
Покажи мне месседж, который ты послал
to teach the world monotheism and to teach the Torah that is given. And the whole monotheistic theology. The Jews are supposed to spread that to the non-Jews. And to an extent, they have succeeded.
When did you invite her?
And we have to succeed a little more, and then Mashiach will come and he'll finish the job.
So that was Thursday. Last Thursday? Like a week ago?
No, that was last Thursday, 12:15.
So that's March 6th or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch now to...
Okay, so you did it, but didn't we talk about this whole thing on thank you. Can I come the following week? That's instead of invitation. So, why did you? I don't know. I think just cancel. Yeah, I'm gonna write it. I have something to say. I'm so sorry. So did you forget? You forgot that she said that.
That she said that. The whole story of Purim.
You can't.
Explores the anti-Semitic mind.
This is, what the problem was? When she said, can I come the following week instead? Send invitation. At that point, you should have forwarded this.
Philosophy from
so it's Thursday. You should not have made that decision. Yes, you can. Or if you, remember, because you need Mama's approval. But how did this happen?
Never left.
You didn't do this.
The non-Jewish world.
How did this happen? Why did you say yes, you can?
There's always been,
at that point, so she's asking about a different Shabbat. You should have asked Mama.
But the anti-Semites.
What do you want to write in?
Then if this, I won't be able to
a lot of still flood.
This our next Shabbat. Not this one. Following week instead, since I have an invitation, the following week means. Wouldn't it be? Yeah, like this coming Shabbat. No, next. No, it's not. No. Thursday is March 6th. No. Thank you. Can I come since I have an invitation for this coming Shabbat? Right. This coming Shabbat, I'm not issued at the. No, that was from Thursday over there.
From
over there? Thursday. Okay, you don't understand shit. No, I do. I think you don't understand. Thursday was March 6th, correct? That was last week. Right. So she's saying. Let's try after Purim. Can I come the following week, not this coming week?
Haman, the wicked one.
You understand? I just don't know. I don't want.
Bo, v'navo Yisrael mina olam. Let you and me eradicate Israel from the world.
The following week means after Purim. After Purim will be
After he came to Achashverosh, you should never confirm it. He was ticked off because Mordechai wouldn't bow to him.
To me, this is actually very confusing. I don't understand.
Mordechai was in the
because
government of Persia also, because he was Esther's
she's booking you out like weeks ahead. Maybe I should have clarified that with her.
But he wouldn't bow to Haman.
Yeah, like I don't even know what she's talking about. I think you should define that.
Tied around his chest, attached to his chest. Without that, he would have curtsied. That's just respect. But if an idol is on his, it's not just respect, it's worship. And Jews are forbidden by God to worship any other God. Of course, it's a fake God, but that is the command that God we heard straight from God Himself. Lo yeh l'cha elohim acherim al ponai. You may have no other gods.
Maybe like.
So now, Haman comes to Achashverosh. Now, Haman was the wealthiest guy, but he wasn't the most powerful guy. Achashverosh was the king.
I will note that in the future. I will
not. He was a fool,
but
he was the royal fool. And he had the power of the army. He had the power to kill people.
He said it. I will not.
And Haman didn't. Haman had to get his permission. Which now that's what this Midrash is going to cover. So again, Amar Rish Lakish says, Bishah Shomar Haman HaRashul Achashverosh. And the time when Haman, the wicked one, said to Achashverosh,
And that's it. And if you want to avoid awkward situations in the future, please listen to what the Midrash Shiur
genocide.
You will not get pleasant experience. I will not do it. You can't do this against Mama. She's the host. She's spoken. She's the one that's taking the responsibility. You can't just shit on us. Eventually, the amount of work that it takes to host people. I can't do this. I'm half sick right now. Do you want me to spread the love to people? Yeah, I have a sore throat. I have no idea what the hell this is. It's something pretty tenacious.
By the real
do you want me to send this to spread it to elderly people?
So you can't talk about anything like that, getting rid of the world, getting rid of the Jews from the world.
You know,
you're not feeling well.
I know, but then you never touch base with me about stuff. I will tell the Yankees we have a word. No, that's fine. They can come because, they're already coming. But with this woman, it's like. No, but you're not feeling well. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. No. That's what you're going to do. No. It's going to be like that.
Look what God did to
this person, I don't even understand what the hell she wants
in history.
I understand. And she's a nice person, I'm sure, but I don't understand even when she's coming. You can't just. We're not a restaurant that they can reserve a place. I mean, again, if they want to come on a certain day, they have to.
World powers.
You have to run it by. When she said, I can't do this Shabbat, but I can do like blah, blah, blah. I don't understand what that was she's talking about. But okay, that's fine. First of all, you clarify the date. This Shabbat, next Shabbat, next, the Shabbat after the next. You know, what the hell does that mean? No, I mean, I'm sure, I listen, I do that all the time. You need the date. It's March so-and-so. That's it. You March people, number two is you do not confirm, yes, you can. Until you get that yes from us.
Having a dialogue. Haman comes to him and says, let's get rid of all the Jews. He says, come on, you some kind of an idiot. Let's give a look at history. What happened to all those who started up with the Jews?
I don't, I'm having a very hard time anyway with people coming here. I don't like it. I don't. I mean, like, there's some people like that.
The big powers, like Nebuchadnezzar and Pharaoh and all those down to his time.
It's very hard work. There's a rule,
that's the
6
closing
people, 7
time
people, that table comes out. All the scriptures
Purim story.
You have to move a lot of stuff. You saw that.
All of those
a lot of stuff.
were destroyed.
It's like you have to get our permission for this.
The Romans, the Greeks.
I feel like every time I just get
Banan the low malinin. Kabase, we who aren't even as strong as those who tried to destroy the Jews. Allah has how much more so that God is not going to let us do that.
Motherfucker is going to tell me how to violent. This is motherfucking spinal. You understand? There's this other problem.
And Vahabe, the muscle, the Chol Dore Alma. God's not going to let us, and we should join this, and we'll be a lesson to the whole world not to start up with the Jews. So then he tells him, Vanandalo, Malinin Kabosea, Kama, Shavik Lacha, Milmalala. So don't talk about this anymore. The people did not. Okay, nonetheless, the wicked Haman wasn't dissuaded by him telling him to look what happened to all the other world leaders. They were all killed in their attempts. Pharaoh, the first world power, he was killed. And all the leaders that we read about in the Tanakh. But he was such an enemy. Abafo Cain, Amana Russia, Mitare al Achashverosh. Nonetheless, he had to get Achashverosh's consent to destroy the Jews. So even though Achashverosh, who is normally called a Melech Tippus, is a fool, and he said, look what happened to all the other people who started up with the Jews.
But I think what you really should do is... Nonetheless,
he kept bothering Achashverosh, let's get rid of the Jews.
Throw themselves at your feet.
Al Pizgamada on this matter, called Shaita Vishaita. Every hour he was on top of him, let's get rid of the Jews. The Umiatso Eitos Rose. He brought all kinds of bad strategies, Al Yisrael, on what to do with Israel. Amalei, Achashverosh. Look, if you don't believe me, Amalei Achashverosh, You're so insistent.
I don't know, honestly, like, I would don't invite any white people. 3 guests is more than enough. And Mama is
So let's call a
she's
council of all the wise men of the
recuperating
world
from cellulitis.
and see what they have to say
She's
about
completely
your lust to kill the Jews.
She's extremely difficult. But what we have to do, every one of us, towards each other, is try to decrease provocations.
Right away.
So you gotta do that. Again,
messages,
I would say for the future, I really try to be very organized. When someone says for Shabbat, whenever I confirm it, I say, so you're gonna be here on the Shabbat of, and I pull up, I will put the calendar. Alright, so we're talking about exactly March 15th, blah blah blah. That way you're very good. This Shabbos, next, the Shabbos after the next, the Darshan, what the hell? Pretty much you can have the 2 wisest people in the world.
Session.
So I mean, I don't know. So I just so that's it. I can't. And I cannot put this on Mom right now. Mrs. Blackman, she has very specific dietary restrictions. I heard why. And I wake up to this night.
All of them, when they presented this
it's just too much.
plan to get rid of the Jews.
I don't know. Is he co-opting some of this?
Listen how they answer him, all the wise men of the world.
Cameras is somehow tapping into our internet. Does he have other surveillance devices? From what I understood,
are you crazy? They shouted together.
But it's like
who is the one whose heart drives him to want to get rid of the Jews?
I'm walking around under the greatest fear that a person can have. But what was the worst test of Avraham Avinu? What was the worst test? Because what was the most difficult test of Avraham Avinu?
Sacrifice.
Yes, and I'm walking around under a similar
who wants to advise us,
I'm forced
get our
to give
opinion
my
on
precious child,
the genocide of the Jews.
My one that I had in my old age. And I'm forced to give half of my time with her.
Destroy Israel, the Jewish people, from the world.
Я всеми под этим стрессом. Please take the pressure.
Ein ha'olam miskayim.
Everyone will understand you 100%. Let me check. I feel like there's a pressure, like they're asking
of the Jews.
They're waiting for. So let me check. I'll get back to you. So they know it's pending. That's fine. Let me check. It's a very respectful thing. In fact, it's by the Torah. If you ask the lady of the house, just mom, she's the cook. If you ask the lady of the house,
that was given to the Jews.
This is okay. It's actually by the Torah. I remember learning this from Meir. He would not invite guests until
these are the wise men of all the nations who know what the Torah
so it's 100% the right thing to do.
In lo greasy, if it were not for my Torah, Yom B'Laila, day and night which I created, Uka Shamayim B'Oretz L'Samti, I wouldn't have made how the heaven and the earth to exist. I wouldn't have made a world. It is because of the Torah and the Jews keeping the Torah that the world is existing. Hey, you hear this?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
These world wise men who came to Shushan on this council, you can picture this happening
I'm really.
You probably would have many nations saying that. The world
I'm really sorry. I'm not familiar with that.
Exist without the Jews because
I'm not familiar with
their Torah. They're studying their Torah.
I am sorry.
And they bring a scriptural saying from God.
I will follow up with it within the next.
Again, She'im Atah, and this is for today, just as much as it was for them. These are eternal words. She'im Atah Ma'abed Yisrael Min Ha'olam. If you destroy, you take Israel out of the world, the world can't exist. Okay? שאם אתה מעבד ישראל מן העולם, אין העולם מסקיים. You get rid of the Jews, you're getting rid of all of us. The world can't exist without the Jews. This is what it says in the Midrash. I'm not making it up. Ela b'shvil Torah. Because of the Torah, shenitna lahem, that was given to Israel. That's why the world exists.
Excuse me, please.
And they bring the pasuk from Yirmiyahu, Ahudasiv, Im loy brisi, if not for my covenant, Yom v'layla, day and night, Chuka Shamayim v'oretz, the laws which the heaven and earth exist. Lo samti, I would not have placed that. The world was only created. That's what we learned. Bereshit bara Elokim b'shvil snei reshis, b'shvil Yisrael nikran reshis, b'shvil HaTorah nikra reshis. Bara Elokim, that's Shamayim v'Saaretz. So these wise men knew that, and it tells Haman and the Chashverosh, you're idiots for proposing such a thing. Below Od, Ela Shekol.
Which paragraph are you up to?
What? Ela Shekol Ha'umos.
Which chapter are you up to?
I'm it's a very long chapter.
Yeah.
It's
Zion.
Dude. It's a very long chapter. It's in Esther Rabbah, but it's by the time when the Midrash is on, when Haman comes to try to get permission. And Achashverosh is well aware, even though, again, he is called Melech a fool. Nonetheless, he says, first tell him there's no way. So you just look in history, you know that everyone started up with the Jews was destroyed. And so they call, let's call a whole council of the world and see what they say, the wise men of the whole world. The wise men of the whole world come and say, hey, God created the world for the for his covenant with the Jews and the Torah.
Sorry.
And all the nations nikru nochrim, they're called strangers. And Yisrael, the Jewish people, nikru kroivim, they're called relatives of the God Almighty. Again, these are the wise ones are telling to Achashverosh and to Haman.
I do want you to.
Hashverosh agrees with them, but Haman doesn't. He's still going to try. But again, the wise men say, and you want to know, God loves the Jews because they're called Krovim. You know what a Korov is? A relative. It's not only because of the world, God keeps the world going. He created the world so that the Jews should keep the Torah. But all the nations are called Elashakol Umos Niklu Nachrim. All the nations are called strangers. Upnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to God. V'Yisrael Nikru Krivim. They're called close. You know what a Korov is? A Korov is a relative. Ahu Dechsiv V'gam Es HaNachri Asher Lo Me'am Yisrael.
Are you allowed to do laundry?
Ahu. About the Jews, it says in Libnei Yisrael Am Krivai, to the Jewish Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, his relative, his near ones.
You are allowed to do.
Below Oid,
Probably a good idea for you to do laundry then. No, I'm not bringing it up.
Bunny. They're not even called relatives, they're called sons. Bunny. Ahu Dechsiv, B'ni B'chorei Yisrael. What does Moshe say in God's name to Pharaoh? B'ni B'chorei Yisrael. My son, my firstborn.
Yeah, are you allowed to do laundry? Yeah.
Figuratively, because God, in terms of their closeness, they're called like this. But every creation is made by God. Every creature is on that level of not on the level of being called son. That's only the Jews, but it's not in the sense of a real son. God does one who is like God. And God says, Ani Rishon, Bani Akron. I'm the first. I have no father. Bani Akron. I'm the last. I have no son. It says over here, B'nai B'chorei Yisrael. So it doesn't. What he's saying that I'm the first and the last. He's saying that I have no physical son, or I had no physical father. God is existed before time, before the world. He's a being, the supreme being, but we can't begin to understand him. And that's what the Rambam says about Elohim, Yodua Mitziuso. We know, and we have to know better and better and grow in this understanding of Mitziuso, of his being. Mitziuso. We can't know his Mitzvah, his essence. That's beyond human comprehension. But there's enough for a person who lived 120 years to build up and build on his understanding of God's existence. Never mind his essence. That's beyond our understanding. We'll get some knowledge of that in the next world, but not in this world where we have human intelligence.
Good chance. Telling you there's no.
And who's telling this? The wise men of the world are telling this to Haman and Achashverosh. You won't find this assembly, this council in the Megillah. You'll only find it here in the Midrash that I'm reading to you from Esther, the Midrash. And that's what the Midrash is for, to fill in the details of the happenings.
Sorry. No, it's not my fault. I know it's not your fault.
And you are sons to God. That means, in the soul, the Jew has a nefesh elokis. No. When somebody becomes a Jew, when he accepts the mitzvahs and he goes to the mikveh, that experience in the mikveh is where he goes down not Jewish, but he comes up Jewish.
When you slept in a dormitory, right? Yep, I was in a dormitory. Did you feel? I did have a sense of responsibility. Now that you don't really have a sense of responsibility because
in the woman's womb,
when
he's forming, he gets the Jewish soul. Similarly, when one accepts the mitzvahs, and if he's a male, have the bris, the circumcision, and has accepted the
5 years.
God is right there, and he goes under, and he comes up a Jew, because that water is like the womb of the Jewish woman who's conceiving a child, which by definition in the halacha that it goes by the mother, no matter who the father was. A child born to a Jewish mother is Jewish.
Said yes, so I'm sure Rabbi Sherman will say yes. Rabbi Sherman. Yeah. Okay.
So the Midrash goes on to say that we are called relatives, and to the point of the sons. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nikra Korov Yisrael.
Good to know.
God is called close to Israel. Korov, relative to Israel. Ahud Echsiv.
It is a bad. I see what you mean by
Hashem l'chol korov. L'chol asher yikra'u be'emes. God is close to all who call him. L'chol asher yikra'u be'emes. Anybody, Jew and non-Jew, who call in seriousness.
You're nervous and
God is close to him.
I don't even know if he's coming. There's a lot of questions.
And there isn't a nation who's close.
That's something Sam was not. Did not do. He was clearly.
Who is close to God.
You are much
except
better.
Israel.
You're clearly you're determined, which I think is really, 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 really good. That's nice to have you too.
B'Hashem Elokeinu b'chol korenu elav. Who was like the Jewish people, who was close to God in all our calling to him.
To the coffee shop right now. Put ember and beans roasting.
Adam
It's an idea about
Lisbon
oh wow.
Yad Bikrovov,
So Fox 9
and
is
anyone who wants to
so
send
Channel
his
9 Fox 9.
hand against
Okay.
God's close
So
one
Fox 9,
and
but
his
what do you like
sons
about Fox 9? You just like Channel
shall
9. You like to stay
Baruch
informed. Okay. Like weather, news. Yeah, I really do like the approach with weather. What are the other 4 stations?
Eich,
What do you say? When you say Fox 9 has a different approach to weather, what do you mean?
and he won't escape. So you're giving the fee.
I want to. You can have it tomorrow morning if you want. You're going to be home, right? Probably no problem.
And this is the statement of these non-Jews are saying this. Because the wise men of the world are
No.
reproaching Achashverosh and Haman.
I hear different things. It's
Achashverosh
whether.
started out like this too. That you can't start out with the Jewish people.
Pay attention to the high, not to the low.
Pardon me, but I have problems with my vision. Lech v'hiponem. The wise men are telling them. Pe'echa says they're all in agreement with this.
Is it
All these wise
sign?
men of the world. Lech v'hiponem b'malachim harishonim. Go.
Wise?
Hisponem. Hisponem means think deeply.
Oh, sure, okay.
Look at what
Real
happened.
TV. So,
B'malachim harishonim. The early kings. She'avru al
magicians?
Leichis Badim B'malachim HaRishonim She'avru al She'postru Yedeim B'Yisrael, who struck Israel. Ma'osabahem. What happened to them? Kimo Paro V'Sencherev. Look what happened to Paro, who was the leader of the world power, and Sencherev,
OH. OH?
who's mentioned in Kings. Miyad Omar Lahem. So what does Haman answer?
Okay, yep, I see it. Miyad.
Miyad Omar Lahem Haman. Eloha Shekava Leparo Biyam. The God who drowned Pharaoh, and the whole Mitzrayim, that he split the sea, and the Jews went through on dry land, and then the water went back and drowned all the chariots of Pharaoh who followed in the water, and they all drowned, and Pharaoh drowned.
I see it. Yep. I see it.
There's a guy who wrote a book, and he shows a picture of a chariot wheel that found in the exact water that was that the Egyptians drowned in. Their chariots drowned, and they came out with a wheel from a chariot. And then I met that person. He was looking for some assistance from Rabbi Friedman.
He moves. Isn't he like a psychologist? Well, it might be a school psychologist. He had some. You're saying he didn't have No, just yeah. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just say, I've had. Okay. I don't know. What if she said it does not work? It clearly, you know what? Okay. You might need to consult a therapist. Okay. That's where you come here. This is kind of where it begins. What if you lived in your own house? What then? That would change. You're living in an old house. He doesn't to comply with this crap. Leave it. Did you get into a fight? How frequently do you get into a fight with your parents? How long does this last? Okay. Why don't you just leave? Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna you leaving will make the situation better.
There's an interesting part that follows, but I just wanted that you hear how the wise men of the world, Haman still he got the decree against because he tells them that all these what he says there. Miyad Omar Elon Haman. Haman spoke to them. Elahash Tava Leparo, the God who drowned Paro Biyam, the also Israel Nissim, and he made miracles for the Jews, Guros, Sheshamatim, and all the wonders that you heard about. Barhuzakin. He got old, the gods who did all that, where this was 1,000 years ago, and he's gotten old. And Ve'eno Yachol Lasos Klum, he can't do anything anymore. Shekvar Ola Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar arose. The Hichri Beso, and they destroyed God's home, the Beis Hamikdash.
Yeah.
The Shorat Eseicholo, the Higlas Israel, Upizron Beino Umos. Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple, but we know what happened to him also. And the Jews were scattered around the world.
No, sir. I want to talk to you. No, you're gonna come to my room. I don't want to.
And
What's gonna happen?
He said, "Ve'echon kocho Guraso,
She has a problem. Please don't invite Mom.
And where is he allowed? He didn't stop Nebuchadnezzar from destroying the temple. But we know that the Jews sinned. They call that. There's no such thing as God getting old. He said these wise men who were so wise, they accepted what he said, and the decree was sealed and it was sent out to all the nations. And we know what the conclusion of the story is, that V'nehapachu, that it was turned around. It was, the decree was on the 13th day of Adar, which is Thursday, which is tomorrow. All the Jews were supposed to be, all the Jews, men, women, and child, were supposed to be destroyed. And it was turned around. That V'nehapachu, this is a pasuk from the Megillah. Asher yishultu haYehudim hema b'sonehem. The Jews ruled, had power, and destroyed all their enemies, and no Jew lost his life in this. It was it was announced. Ahasuerus, the world power, he was the king of the ruling power in the world, and he sent to all his 127 provinces that don't you dare try to hurt the Jews, because I have. He couldn't take back the decree which he signed that all the Jews should be killed. Now he changed his mind and he saw what happened, and after Esther's banquet, and Haman was invited, and the king thought that something was going on. Why did she invite Haman to the banquet? And he thought that something was going on between them.
Do you know what that
And he
word
had
detained
a
means?
dream, the Midrash says,
Detained
that
means
Haman was
jail.
standing with a sword
Please
over
don't
his
use
head,
harsh language.
and 2
Excuse
minutes
me, please
later,
do not use harsh.
his chamberlain say, Haman is waiting in the
Detained
courtyard.
means
Oh, he's coming to get me. He's to prepare me to be assassinated. And you know the story that he wonders, wouldn't somebody tell me if there was
I
some
do
kind
not.
of plot to assassinate me? Maybe no, because maybe I didn't reward somebody who did save me
Please do not
through
use the
telling
word
me
detained
that
when
somebody
talking
was
about Rabbi Feller.
out after me. And who was that?
Detained
Bigtzer
means
and
that
Teresh.
he was
And
imprisoned.
Mordecai heard them plotting against the king,
Please use a different one,
putting
like he is
poison in his
occupied
coffee.
in prayers.
And
Thank you very much.
Mordecai understood their
Detained.
talking, because he understood all languages, because he was a member of the Sanhedrin. They had to know all languages, and he understood, and he told Mordecai, Esther, and Esther told the king, and they tested with some of the food that Chamberlain brought, and they gave it to a dog, and the dog died. And that was Bigtzer and Teresh were executed. And who gets the credit for this? That saved the king's life? Mordecai, because it was very
Detained. That
secret. It
sounds
was
very.
not known, but for
So
Mordecai being
you
knowing
shouldn't
all the
use the word
languages.
detained means
And so
in
now
official custody. It sounds like
the
he's did a
confluence of
crime.
events, how this miracle happened.
The
Haman
word
comes to
yenta
get
means
permission from the king
the word
to
yenta means.
hang Mordechai.
I know. I
It
don't
really
think.
was supposed to be taken in
I think
11 months.
yenta
It was supposed to be
sounds like a very
but
derogatory word.
nothing. It
Okay.
was
Well, I mean,
killing Haman
it's a
inside
word
that
that is
Mordechai is
used.
still alive, and Mordechai doesn't
And
want him,
that's the
and
concept.
therefore
I don't
he
think
wanted
she's
to
that
hang Mordechai.
bad. You know,
In these days of Pesach, it was
sounds like a
the
very, really
16th,
Jerry turn
the 14th, 15th, and
because you don't
16th,
use
the
that.
3 days of
I
fasting
don't.
that Esther got Mordechai to do. In that last week, she said, Mordechai told her, well, what are you telling me to go get the Jews to fast? It's Pesach. And she tells him, what good is Pesach if there are no Jews and you're the whole people are uh,
By detained.
destroyed. And so she
What
got
kind of
him,
language?
but
That
he
means
comes
someone that's
and
in
it's
prison.
on Pesach night, and the king he gets
Why won't say this part?
he asks him as well that what we do to the man that the king wants to honor. And Haman, the egotistical scum, says, "Who would the king want to honor more than me?" And he gives him the whole thing out. Let the king uh, uh, give his horse and his crown and his clothes to the one who the king wants to honor, and let the next highest official uh, um, run in front of him, screaming. This is what is done to the man whom the king wants to honor. And you can imagine almost him is almost having a heart attack when he tells him to do it to Mordechai, the Jew. He tries to feign ignorance, saying, which Mordechai? And he said, Mordechai the Jew. He said, well, there are plenty of Jews called Mordechai who sits in the and who's in the government, and finally he realizes who he wants. He goes, what's Mordechai doing? He's learning with the children. And Mordechai sees him coming.
Don't say,
Run,
hey.
children. Haman is coming to kill me, and I don't want you to get hurt. He said, no, we're staying with you, Rabbi. And whatever will happen to you could happen, would happen to us. We're not leaving you. And Mordechai couldn't conceive that he's coming to honor him. And, hey, it was all this praying, and Mordechai took together 20,000 kids and learned with them halacha. And even tells us what he learned with them. He learned with them the laws of the Omer, the offering of the Omer on the second day of Pesach, because that's when it was happening. And what happens with Haman, and Haman is hung, and his 10 sons are hung also. And the Jews, they knew very well that they were supposed to be destroyed on Purim, but any Jew who was uneasy, could have gotten out of this decree to kill the Jews by converting, becoming a non-Jew, which a Jew can do, but he can fool himself and he could fool the authorities and he'll become a Zoroastrian, he'll become a Persian, but not one Jew uh, walked out or stepped out of this and converted,
Elected to do something?
made
You're
any
gonna do
effort
it.
to convert. And they all
So,
and this atoned for their
yeah,
having
definitely.
served
Absolutely right.
idolatry and that caused and going to the Trefasuda mill
When you come here, it's a really, really different.
uh,
Listen,
the King Ahasuerus, and this is the great things that uh, 75,000 of the enemies of the Jews, even though Ahasuerus says, don't try it, we've armed them to the teeth, you're going to get killed. And their hatred was so great, there was an element that their hatred was so great that they tried, and they would kill 75,000 in the world who tried,
wow.
even because they couldn't be punished if they would kill Jews on that day. And that was the king's decree. How that decree
Anyway,
was
dude,
the king said himself, I can't take it back, but I bound them to the teeth. And what concluded was like to the Jews there was on this day. Uh, unto the Jews there was ira, light and joy, happiness and glory.
Chloe,
And let's hope that that happens with us. Hey, that that God, no Jew ever could think of such a thing. That Haman said that God got old and he doesn't have the power anymore. Uh, Again, we should in these days of Purim, when the greatest mess happened to us, that it was turned around. Asher Yishu to Ayurim Hebam Soreim. So we should take advantage of these days. And if we can't go to the shul to read the Megillah, we should read it in Hebrew or English by ourselves, and get and hopefully this is what we learned from the Midrash, what went on. Um, uh, and I wish we could go through the whole Midrash, but anyhow, we had some scatterings of it. So again, uh, we have the mitzvahs are to hear the Megillah tomorrow night and Friday morning, and to give one food gift up to different kosher items, a piece of cake and an apple, a kosher cake and a kosher cookie and an apple. Those two things to one Jew, and to give to two poor people. Thank God we live in a city where there aren't any poor people that go around. So if we know poor people, we give them a donation on this day. And if not, we put it in a pushka that is intended meaning a charity box that is intended that it will be sent to a poor person or family. So you have to give two gifts to two different. In this case, if you don't have two different people to give to. Then you give to 2 different charities. And then you have to eat a feast. And today, because it's before Shabbos, our shul is making a feast and 1 o'clock on Friday. So everyone, you'll enjoy that. I think there's an admission charge of that is very generous, and those are the mitzvahs. Purim, hearing the Megillah tomorrow night and Friday during the day, and giving a gift to the poor. And then that's all on Friday. Not tomorrow night. The only mitzvah is hearing the Megillah. The rest of the mitzvahs have to be done during the day on Friday. So give an apple and a soda to one friend, and you fulfill that mitzvah. And give charity to 2 charities, and you fulfill that mitzvah. And eat a suda, a special, something special. You can eat it if it's not possible to go to a shul. Eat it, and have in mind you're fulfilling the mitzvahs of Purim. And may God take notice of the fact that Jews are returning, and we see this. The Jews are coming to realize that they have a special job. They are the chosen people, but not chosen to abuse, God forbid, or materially dominate. They're chosen to spread the light of monotheism. They're chosen to teach people about God. So, hey, Mashiach will come.
Rabbi, I remember something from years ago that your son Mendel could read the entire Megillah in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that's people who are in a hurry, what have you. It's better he reads it to us in between 30 and 40 minutes. Mendel will be reading the Megillah at Lubavitch's house, and then we're going to have a big meal, a festive meal for everybody who comes with no charge. And that's going to be, the fast is probably over about 8 o'clock. You could have something between the reading of the Megillah, before the reading of the Megillah, and then the reading of the Megillah comes, and then there's this feast that will take care of it, happen in Lubavitch's house, and everybody's invited. And again, you were supposed to have a joyous, but it's not the feast that you have to have to fulfill the mitzvah of the Purim feast is on Purim day. Very nice. It's an enjoyment, and it's a feast. It's a complete dinner, and in the Lubavitch house, and it'll be about. I suppose it'll be about 8:30, something like that, to 8:30 and 9. So tell your friends, come yourself, you can, and it's open to everybody. Anybody who wants to celebrate the holiday of Purim. So anybody want to say anything?
We want to thank you as always, Rabbi. Very
Okay,
special
next.
to have you, to learn with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. But let me tell you, next week again, because of this blankety blank daylight saving time, I don't know who benefits from it, but I don't think it's going to be a while till we go to 7 o'clock to study, because that's when we have to go to mincha. But we might I think we should make next week, 9 o'clock might be too late, but 8:30, I think we should do next week's at 8:30.
Okay, 8:30 it is, Rabbi. Yes, we'll make sure the word gets out to everyone. 8:30, 8:30 next week on
Okay.
Thursday. On Thursday.
Yeah, on Thursday. We're back to Thursday.
8:30 on.
God bless you all, and
Amen.
we'll again. Who's still on? Who is on? Dr. Sher, Jonathan, Moshe Lipschitz, and Joel.
I'm here. Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. Great job.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a happy Purim and a good Shabbos.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Rabbi. God bless. All too.
Told you.